I'd like to welcome everyone to the June meeting of the Crawfordville City Council. Let's rise to the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council members, the minutes of the May 6th meeting were distributed to you. Do you have any corrections or additions to those minutes? Not, I would entertain a motion of approval as distributed.
I second.
Motion by Mr. Chapman, second by Ms. Bowman. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Meeting carried. Motion carried. Public request. Anyone?
I want to ask the board to okay a speed bump for our street, because you're not ever home when it happens, because you're still up here working, Herman, but in the afternoons, from right after lunchtime until 6 o'clock at night, Commerce Street is like a speed zone. And I've seen cars come up there so fast they actually jump the loop and come on up, jump the bump, I mean, and come on up. So I would like for y'all to install at least one, hopefully two, speed bumps on that street. One up on our end and one down on the other one before they come down that hill. Because it's dangerous, and I don't know how many of you know Willie that lives down on the corner from us, but he's got two of the prettiest little grandkids you've ever seen. They look like they're about 2 or 3. And every time I see them out there playing, they just wave at me, and I'm scared to death that the car's gonna come down there so fast it's gonna hit one of them. And that is one of our requests. The other one is that we need some police protection in this town. And from what I have heard, Mark wants more money if he comes send somebody down here. And I think we can get along without Mark. We can just shovel him back out there where he does his little thing, and we can hire us a policeman. Can't we do that, people?
It's not that simple. The reason that the former police officer resigned was because he must cooperate with the sheriff, because the city is totally dependent upon the sheriff for 911 dispatch. Mm-hmm. And we have to have an interlocal agreement between the city and the county and the sheriff's office. And no interlocal agreement that Mark would accept was acceptable to the city police officer. And if Mark doesn't sign the interlocal agreement, he will not provide any radio service to the Crawfordville Police Department. If the Crawfordville Police Department does not have radio service, they cannot issue one single speeding ticket. Because you have to validate.
When's Mark's time up? We need to get rid of him and get somebody that can help us.
I entered into an agreement with Mark that was going to get what we had to have, and rather than abide by the agreement, the police officer resigned.
Well, some of the people have been telling me that it's kind of scary living in Crawfordville nowadays. People can just come up and come into your houses and you don't even know that they're there and that kind of stuff. It's on the side streets, it's not the main drag right through here.
Well, I urge people to make their complaints to the sheriff. If that's the one thing that he reacts to.
He won't do anything, it does sound like, so if I complain to him.
Personal complaints, he listens.
But please think about getting us some speed bumps.
Speed bumps, that's another sticky situation. If you have speed bumps on a street, then that street at least cannot receive any state funding or resurfacing. Now, Commerce Street may be all right because it's recently resurfaced, but if you place speed bumps, then you cannot spend the state funds that are available for resurfacing local streets on that street.
Okay, we're in pretty good shape, so forget resurfacing and let's do something.
A speed bump is not cheap. It depends on what you build. If you build the little mounds,
Yeah,
you can build those pretty cheaply.
that's what I thought.
The
All across
ones
road like
up in Danielsville, going out toward the high school that they put in, they're trapezoids.
Yeah.
They're like this. When you go up and flat surface and then down, and those things I suspect cost several $1,000s each, and we certainly can't afford that kind of
Well, let's just
speed
get a
bump.
plain bump then. And they'll have to slow down after they done bump their car 2 or 3 different
Well,
times.
I don't know, if you don't have them pretty close together. There used to be a street in Union Point, the one just inside the city limits that goes way back in and does a dog leg and takes you across toward Highway 77. There were spaced speed bumps along there, and they work pretty well, but I've seen places where you just try one, people will slow down for that one and then they'll take off.
Well, let's put 2 close together then.
Then
This
you
is
get
dangerous
how
for
many.
people
I
on that
understand. It gets messy.
Well, let's mess a little bit.
Let's see what the council members wish. And think about it, we'll talk at the end of the meeting. Anything else on public request?
You may want to, and we know we got speed signs up there, speed limit signs, they're just old and dilapidated. Put some better ones up or more up and might get their attention as well. I don't know.
If you don't have a cop that's going to enforce the speed limit, Bobby, I don't
know.
think it's,
Well, they don't know that, really. I hope they don't. But, only other option is the possibility of putting some small speed bumps, especially down the bottom where Willie lives and coming up that hill. They know they get speed limit and pop that hill right up toward your house and my house. And then coming down the hill from Willie's up there. From what I've noticed, that I know I shouldn't be talking, she should, but, this mainly happens on weekends and out on the evenings when people get off work. Had a shortcut coming up Commerce Street, rather than go out, go up to City Hill. And they'll come down through there pretty fast, coming home. I guess they're coming home, wherever they're gonna go. And that's when all the kids are home, out playing in the yard. Anyway, that's, y'all think about it.
My doctor put me to walking because of my heart about a month ago. And that's when I really began to notice this kind of stuff, was going on, when I would be walking and they'd go shoom right past me and that kind of stuff. Thank you.
no further request. mayor's report. Council members, you'll be happy to know that we finally got both decanters at the sewage treatment plant operation. We did, in fact, have to have a part manufactured to replace a worn part in the unit that was installed initially at the plant. No one was ever able to find a source of parts to supply a replacement part. So we had the pre-construction conference on encapsulating the pond last week. Eddie said it's going to still take about 60 days to get all the water out of the pond. So the actual construction will probably begin somewhere around the 1st of August. But Charles Ware expects to complete the work in about 10 days. Because he wants to get in and get out before it rains, and he's having to try to push mud around to create the encapsulation with. Last Thursday, the air conditioning unit that serves this portion of the building, the council chamber and the courtroom failed. I guess it was just worn out. The manufacture date on the unit said 2000, so that made it about 14 years old, although I don't believe it went in service until about 2002. But, nonetheless, it died, and we had to get a replacement unit. It was placed yesterday, and you can appreciate the cool air in here with this evening. You have in your package tonight the audit for the 2013 operation. Normally Butch Whidden would be here to discuss it, but he had a conflict, was out of town this week, and he will be here at our July meeting to review the contents with the council. But I need to go ahead and send the copy to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, because you will recall they reduced our interval from 180 days to 150 days when they wanted an audit after the close of fiscal year. I did not want to send the copy out before you had copies in your hand. And it's a good audit, by the way. So Butch will say that in much more detail, but it looks good. Moving on to financial reports. The balance sheet for the general fund. At the top you can see the funds that we have on hand. Certainly appear to be adequate to fund our operation. Flipping on to the next page, next group of pages, the revenue and expense budget. versus actual through April. This first page is for the entire general operations account. And the total income, we had $6,500 more than budgeted. The total expenses have been $15,000 less than budgeted. So on an overall basis, we look real good. Next page is just the government operations, expenses, and those have been $600 less than the budget. The judicial operation have been $1,800 less than budgeted. Our public safety operations, since we funded a police department and we do not, or at least we funded finance an officer from the sheriff's department to police, and we have not paid the sheriff anything. We do not have any agreement with him, so we hadn't had any cost. And our expenses there have underrun by $11,771. The public works expenditure have underrun by $1,400. And this last sheet is the housing and development, where there were no funds budgeted and we've actually spent $550. That is for the asbestos inspection of the cotton property. The next is the balance sheet for the enterprise operation. And again, you can see that we have ample funds on hand to operate the business. Moving on to the expense sheets, the water and sewer fund, our revenues have underrun by $2,479 through 4 months. I think they will pick up with the summer months coming and increase water usage. The expenses have underrun by $5,400. So the fact that revenues underran is of no consequence. The next one is solid waste fund. The revenues from solid waste collections have underrun by $700. The expense have overrun by $660. So we have actually had a impact of $1,367 greater than budgeted. But again, this year we will have it to make up the shortfall in garbage collections with tax revenues from the general fund. Are there any questions about any of the financials? All right, moving on, there is no old business. Under new business, we have resolution 2014-01. This is funding the clearing of the cotton lot. Judge Falk has begun the process where seizing that property. And once this is done, then we will need to remove the house and well, we will have to bring in an approved asbestos contractor to remove the asbestos from that house. But once that portion has been removed, then he believes there are other ways of getting the house demolished and cleared from the lot that are cheaper than going with the asbestos contractor to do all of the work. But in any event, this resolution provides $10,000 to fund that operation, and it is to be obtained from our surplus funds. As you know, we have, as I pointed out, we have the funds that we didn't spend for the sheriff's contracted services, so we do have surplus funds in our budget at the moment. Any questions about this resolution?
This is not saying that how much it's gonna cost, it's just an amount put aside.
It's just set, how much we're gonna set aside in the budget.
case, okay.
And we certainly hope it doesn't cost us much. Could I have a motion to adopt resolution 214-001?
I make a motion that we adopt resolution 2014-001.
Is there a second? We have a motion by Ms. Stewart, a second by Ms. Bowman. Any discussion on the motion? Call the roll, please.
In the resolution 2014-001, Mr. Chapman, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Bowman?
Yes.
Ms. Stewart?
Yes.
And Mr. Mayor?
Yes. The resolution is adopted unanimously. Next order of business, council, you have before you resolution 2014-002. This is to designate in the budget the appropriate funds for the pond encapsulation. You have approved awarded the contract, and of course with the contract there also is the need for our engineers to provide inspection services and basically supervise the implementation of the contract. So this sets aside $40,000 from our reserve funds to pay for the actual contract work plus the supporting activities that will be required. Any questions? Could I have a motion to adopt resolution 2014-002?
I motion that we adopt resolution 2014-002.
Is there a second? Motion by Ms. Bowman, second by Mr. Chapman. Discussion on the motion. Call the roll, please.
Roll call for resolution 2014-002. Mr. Chapman Haverford.
Yeah.
Ms. Bowman.
Yes.
Ms. Stewart.
Yes.
Yes. The resolution is unanimously adopted. Council members, that completes the items on the agenda. Anything that any of you wish to bring forward at this time?
The street dance is upcoming on Friday at 7:30. We hope everybody attends. We're supposed to have music for everybody. In conjunction with all the locals, that'll be the city, the county, the sheriff's office, family connection. Is it all? That's all.
Would you like for me to explore the engineers and local contractors, the question of speed bumps?
And if we put them out there, if we don't have, cause they can be heavy enough not to, they don't bolt to the road. Do they bolt to this end to the road, or how do they put a speed bump in?
Well,
They just put them in place.
We have some you
They
can
pour
vote
it,
and
some
some you
pour it
can
in
pour
place.
it down.
Different way.
Yeah, you can pour it and it connects.
But if we put them out there, and if we still want to have our street paved, can we remove it? Is it a such thing as removing, and then
Well,
the state will
the
still pave that
people in
road?
Union Point, when they wanted that street paved, they did have to remove them, but it destroyed a lot of, the existing pavement, well, because they'd been there so long, they formed a complete bond with the old pavement.
But did the state still pave it after that?
They got it paved. I wasn't privy to all that detail, but they did, first they took them up.
Yeah.
And I think that was so they could use those funds to do the paving.
I think that'd work. When we get it paved, we can remove them, get
I
it
think
paved, put them back.
I think that, once they have come down, flying down that road like they usually do, they hit that bump and it bounces them.
They
I
don't
think
slow
they'll
down.
say, hey, I gotta slow down, because if I don't, it's gonna ruin my car.
And then if we need the street paved, we can remove them, get the street paved and put them back.
And the way she requested it and how she came to the reason for requesting it, I don't see how we can say no, but suppose something do happen. And when you explain it, I should, all these stuff.
I don't see nothing wrong with it. Hopefully we can get it in and,
But the way she explained it, how she came to her reason for asking,
yeah. I think it'll work.
we people silly, we don't want to know.
Oh, yeah, let's go down some folks.
I will have some information for the council by our next meeting. Anything else? Got a motion?
Our motion will be adjourned.
This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Back now.
Thank you. Entertaining that.